because Nico's pretty much invisible the entire channel time.
Okay.
Here we go,
no,
loading in. It's a big one. Dewish team trying to get their first win of the split, and Halpigs have to get this win here to hopefully tie up that sixth spot, which is so important, especially now that we're coming down to crunch time, really. There's only 2 weeks left, 6 games after this one. And if you're in that 6th spot going into it, that means you really can just fight for yourselves. If you're able to pick up a lot more wins, if you're able to win more than Frank, then you will be able to find yourselves in those playoffs. Big, big game.
Yep.
Well, where do you expect junglers to be headed this game? Because, I mean, Goldtone playing the Sejuani, but WSL, a hyper aggressive jungle.
Yeah, so I think Godtone will just play around Taco for the most part. I mean, might look bot lane early, but you always see Godtone feels like his game plan is get Herald and use the top for Taco, right? That's just kind of his bread and butter, and I think it makes sense here, especially with the Sejuani Jax. For WSL, though, I mean, he's got ganks set up in both mid and bot. I think mid is especially vulnerable. I mean, Adiox, he can play pretty far back, but should be taking a lot of damage. And this Cogmore has an area as well. Normally you see the Comet out of the Cogmore, but area, I guess, for even more strength in the laning phase. I wonder if maybe there was something like Phase Rush that could have come out, but it probably just isn't enough versus Nico. Just can't be strong enough without the laning keystone.
And I don't know if you remember this, but talking about how Godtone gets that Herald and uses it top pretty much every time he gets it. If you remember back to the last time Taco was in one of those matchup graphics, he had, I think it was like 10th or 9th in terms of jungle proximity. So Godtone is never top unless he has a Herald to go drop there.
Kind of interesting. I mean, maybe he just wants to prop up the bot lane before he kind of moves towards Taco. And already some pretty heavy level 1 trades coming out.
Taco played the reverse of this matchup yesterday against Lakai. So
yeah, it should be very...
You feel like he knows how this matchup should go. And it's really up to JP to find something in this lane because, again, he was red side 5th pick, which that's pretty much your job. If you get that counter, you have to find advantages somewhere, whether it be in those team fights or in your lane.
And speaking of the lane, Adiox, he's lost both of his health pots already, which somewhat to be expected against Nico. Again, it's just a very strong laner. Now he has Chung Xiaotu down as well. Both junglers will be moving towards this bot side, so wouldn't be too surprised to see something around the bot scuttle or maybe on the mid lane. Currently, Helpig's bot lane is the one with the Prior. They've obviously got the Kai'Sa for that early push. Wow,
Ooh.
okay, Xiaotu very low.
Yeah.
Not sure what happened. I mean, he had 2 potions to 0 there for a bit and wasn't super healthy, but I guess the Cogmore E-poke is just really starting to add up. Yeah, I mean, it's basically undodgeable. It's kind of like Victor Laser when you think about it.
Yeah.
And Xiaotu, he needs to clear this and get out of here. I don't think he should stay another one, so we'll base, but Cogmore beating Nico is not something I would have, expected to see today.
Was it on your bingo card?
It was not. Might see a fight in the river here.
I actually think Goldtone was unseen there, but again, you are against the Xin Zhao. As soon as you see him, you don't win the 3v3 anymore, and better to just back off and play safe. Taco actually up CS a quite significant amount. I wonder if that's just JP missing it under tower or something like that, because it doesn't feel like it should be going down this early as Gnar into Jax.
Yeah, I'm not too sure either, or maybe the level 1 trade just kind of led to that, and big trades in bot lane as well. A lot of damage traded back and forth. I'll be really interested to see what Adiox ends up going for in terms of itemization, because I think that we normally see Leandri's cog, but honestly Luden's cog is pretty good as well. And so maybe he just wants it for kind of strong early game, more magic pen. That might depend on what Tide is choosing to build as well.
Yeah, I think with the Dorans, it means he's going to be going for Kraken Slayer.
Yeah, it should be, I think. Don't want to be more AP with your Sejuani cog. And Adiox, such a consistent solo AP carry. WSL, he's around top side. The Taco, I think he's relatively safe. Oh, a jump forward. Now a bit of damage traded back and forth.
Look at the CS gap, and this is a wave building for Taco.
And JP is already TP'd. It feels like that level 1 trade might have just snowballed really, really hard. So nice matchup knowledge from Taco, causes him to get a big lead. And wow, I mean, Adiogs is kind of destroying Zhao 2. It's hard to say how much of this is just player gap, or maybe it's just a really good matchup. I'm not too sure. I feel like I think it is better to have Comet. But either way. And maybe now looking mid is WSL, a big trade in topside. Well, a lot of damage on a JP who, without TP, I feel like is in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, and Meganar's down now too, so you don't have that safety of
Taco's
the CC.
about to hit 6 as well.
WSL might be headed up there though. Taco does hit 6. If he looks, he has a very, very small window until that Xin Zhao is dangerously close, and I think Taco should be aware of that. Chooses not to look for the leap strike and just prefer... Oh, he does actually use it there, and it's going to have to flash away. WSL, right place, right time. Making sure Jax has to lose that summoner spell, which is going to relieve a lot of pressure here for the Na.
Yep, not going to go for anything more. But enabling Na to get that reset, especially not to get punished too hard for the TP, I think is really, really nice. His Lucidity Boots picked up really early here for Adiogs. It's just going to look to be spamming E continually in that lane. I want to see what the top lane item gap is going to be. 2 Sheens?
2 Sheens.
Okay, not 2 Sheens. Sheen and a couple swords. Now, it is tier 2 boots for JP, so he can kite out fairly well, but I mean, it's a sizable amount of gold difference already for that top lane.
Yeah, that's a scary CS gap this early on. I mean, you can see it. 700 gold up are Hellpigs, and there has not been a kill yet. So it's simply just CS. See it both top and mid here.
Yep, there's just those slight laning differences starting to build up. And the mid one is crazy to me, because how often do you see Nico lose lane? I think pretty much never. The champ is just so strong early, but clearly Adiogs has been cooking, and he's found the Cogmore Nico matchup. And to stay alive versus Xin Zhao Nico as well is pretty impressive. No ganks have really been put towards mid. There was one that maybe could have been looked at, but I think nicely respected from Adiogs, was able to keep him alive. Now Godtone, in trade for that dragon, secures the top red buff, and I think for the way Hellpigs play, should be very happy with that. It's going to make securing that Rift Herald a lot easier. And we know what happens when Ty gets the Rift Herald. Snowballs very, very hard off of it. A little bit of vision dropped in that bot river for Zhao too, but now can go back mid. And bot lane as well, it's been pretty quiet. Not much to say really. Neither junglers looked towards there for a long time, and feels like Herald should be the battleground next, but it's one that probably does favor Hellpigs. I mean, double buff to no buffs here right now. Now,
yeah.
Cogmore is a lot weaker than Nico. Those teams' bot lane's on their way.
WSL is losing a lot of health before being able to get to this objective. Adiogs poke coming through nice and strong. Although he is quite low on mana without teleport, it might just be this early rotation from the bot lane securing this dragon here as Adiogs trying to output a little bit of poke, but it's too little too late. This bot lane rotation is going to be all for naught here for Hellpigs as the Rift Shield is secured for Dewish team.
Interesting. I mean, Hellpigs, I think they were kind of unwilling to trade that because they probably felt that they should fight with Jax Sejuani. But ultimately, I mean, the bot lane came up a bit too late. They didn't have prio. And also, I think mid-combat difference, there's going to be a lot of CC put out by Nico in that fight, and not too much that Cog can answer. So all things considered, I think it's fine for Hellpigs to give it over, but the fact they didn't trade anything on bot side is a little disappointing. And also, I think it does upset Hellpigs' game plan a little bit, because normally the way they win is just by, at least for the early game, they snowball through Taco, and then kind of Adiogs carries those later fights. JP starting to get the trades quite good for himself. It's going to force Taco to recall first, and doesn't have a TP as well, so going to lose something for it. Cancels his base.
Still though, this mid lane going very, very good for Adiogs. Will flash away, but the Pop Blossom does land as well as that root, and it's going to be WSL flashing forward and securing himself first blood onto Adiogs.
Pretty hard to survive up against that sort of engage. It was double flashes used, and there is still a Herald, so I wonder if that Herald will be dropped mid and just try and grab some more gold while they can. And I wonder if it might have been better just to go for the chapter first instead of the boots, because you could kind of see there the boots didn't end up helping anyway. I mean, it might have just been a dodge to Nico skill shots earlier as well, so not too sure. A plate is picked up, TP comes out. Herald for now is not dropped. Might just try and save it for the bot lane. It is a Shiv actually that comes out of Tide, which I think is a little strange. I think it probably would have been better to go AD this game. But maybe it just feels like there's no real lifesteal that can come out early, and the poke from both Kai'Sa and Cog could certainly add up. It's not like WSL is playing a full tank jungler or anything. No Maokai, no Sedge, of course.
Yeah, AP Kai'Sa though does feel very weird here, especially because you are going to be up against pretty much anyone that can build mercs, pretty much should be. Although, in saying that, JP has the Tabi, which I think is a terrible item in this game.
I think he kind of had to buy it for the lane, though, because you need tier 2 boots early versus Jax, and I feel like if you rush mercs that from as far behind as he was, it was going to be just too hard. I think you're right. He's going to suffer for it later on in the game. Having no mercs versus Sejuani is always a bit of a problem.
Yeah, Sejuani, Rel. Even the Counter-Strike later is... We've seen it set up so much in the past.
Lots of trades coming out in this top lane. Ooh.
Yeah, JP's
getting
turning it
some
around
huge
for himself.
trades.
Yeah, gets the stun there as well, and a follow-up boulder. Just throwing rocks at Taco, making this champ look like Talia. It's down bot. We pan down there, not sure what happened, but it is going to be Pepero picking himself up a kill there onto IC8.
I have no idea what happened. I thought maybe that Enhal could have, flashed him under tower, but he still has it. So I'm really not sure how IC8 went down there. Maybe just graded a little. Got hard punished for it. I'm sure we'll get it in a replay, but WSL, he sneaks away another camp. Okay, let's see. I mean, maybe they tried to start the dive too early or something? Okay, well, it's a disappointing... Oh, and he flashed. Okay, very problematic death there from ICA. I mean, they were about to set up a gank for Godtone as well, and that's pretty unforgivable, I feel like. It's a lot of gold given over for really no reason. Second drag is alive, and Dewish team, I think, should be stronger at this one. Taco really starting to take a beating on this top side, and JP, he's looking for it.
Looking for the dive.
I don't think he picked up the Q. No, he didn't.
Okay, but now going back here, Pop Blossom comes through. It is just going to be here onto IC8 as the Killer Instinct will secure Tide a safe position to escape, but it's ultimately another kill here found. It does go over to WSL, and with that, they should be able to pick up this dragon.
Yep, so will be a second dragon for Dewish team, and I have to feel like Dewish team, they are getting the leads they need, and we've seen this happen before, though. They get them and then ultimately throw. Hopefully this game is different. Adiox does trade back a little bit of gold in that mid lane. I think he got one plate. Ooh, 2 plates, looks like. So a nice pickup for him, and definitely accelerates that Cog a little more. But you do wonder, I mean, Cog's set behind early here. It is going to take him a pretty long time to be really kind of hitting his spikes. Even going to get to work on a top scuttle. And without TP, I mean, he's going to be forced to stay on the map here, at least for a bit. Top lane. Taco now has completed the mythic, so could start to have things going back in his favor.
Oh, turns around.
Yeah, some big damage. But
has to be careful. There is no Gnar for now, but the Mega Gnar might just be okay with that stun. We'll have to see how JP plays this. Is going to choose to just clear his minion waves. There's no teleport available, so he is going to have to stick around on this health if he wants to stick around. Godtone waiting in the wings alongside WSL. So if a dive is looked at here, should be answered. But with Mega Gnar now fading away, you do feel like it's not really possible.
Well, looks like we will just be back to farming. 20 more seconds, though, on the Herald, so we might see a fight come out sort of soon. It is the Leandries picked up by Adiogs. I do wonder, though, if Cog is strong enough to fight this. There's a lot of strength from the other members, so maybe the rest of Helplix can kind of carry Adiogs through this weak point. But being 15 minutes in and maybe not ready to fight is going to cost them. Dewish team, they're going to get this Herald. Doesn't come for nothing, though. Is tired. He's getting to work on that bot tower. JP, TP's down to it. He might get dived here. Ooh, Godtone's pathing topside, which is pretty strange because you know there's no way you're getting this Herald. I think Godtone really needed to be bot lane here to try and make sure that they could dive the Gnar. Instead, he's kind of out of position. Now Dewish team can probably trade more on topside. I think JP should be able to clear this with his ult.
Yeah, should be looking to just ult this minion wave, although doesn't manage to kill it off. And with Adiox here, there's a killer instinct coming through. It should be a kill found. Hopefully it goes over to Tide, it will. So that's a kill here, at least traded over on the bottom side of the map. As Rift Shield placed here in between the two towers, is looking for this inner tower. Goldtone on the wings will maintain Taco's safety as Taco actually goes in. The headbutt hits him towards Enhao, and there's so much damage coming on to this Jax. The Grandmaster's might does keep him alive as WSL flashes to try find it, but will not. And massive damage to the tower, but a good escape there from Taco to ensure no more gold will be going over to Pepero on this Tristana.
I think also the Herald being used top there means that mid tower will stay alive a lot longer. Obviously it is very low, but sieging against the Kog'Maw is not very easy whatsoever. Maybe Dewish team instead, they just want to kind of bring Hellpigs away from their base, try and get them to fight those neutrals. And look at WSL's items, so you can't see him now, but he had a Hex Drinker and Merc Dreads, which I think is a good pickup. I mean, there's just so much magic damage that comes out here. And it's going to be a long time before any sort of magic pen can be picked up.
Yeah, I think it's perfect. I think you just commit and go more. Why not?
Yeah, I think
no
it's good
reason
as well.
not to.
Especially because he's probably not going to be dealing with the Jax for the most part.
And even if he is, Jax does so much magic damage anyway.
You do feel that Tide, you know, going this AP build might have kind of messed up Adiox's chances of carrying it. Although Adiox building a Manamune, it looks like.
Ooh.
So it's not going to be the Seraphs.
I guess, yeah, it's going to be Manamune. It means his poke's going to land for more, but he's less safe.
Yeah.
That's really what it means.
Oh, definitely an interesting choice.
They're fully committing to a poke comp here.
And there is a lot of engage that can come out, specifically if Nico can find something. But when there's so much wave clear from Kog'Maw and Shiv, it's pretty hard to kind of sneak a lone minion down the lane. I think looking mainly towards the dragons.
Oh, Tide. WSL's going to be able to get onto him. I felt like he had an angle there as it eventually didn't pan out, but now you're seeing, yep, you are really going to struggle to get any work on this tower because Kog'Maw has a lot of wave clear and so does Static Shiv, and Tide has one of those, so every single mid wave that comes down is pretty much immediately cleared from both teams. Meganar now going down, and that's 30 seconds out from this dragon. He won't have it when the dragon spawns, but if he can build it up, it won't be too long until it is up afterwards.
It shouldn't be too hard, I think, to get at least partially stacked. But we've seen Hellpigs do this a lot, of give over the first two drags and then just fight the third one, being, you know, kind of having hit their spikes and then kind of win from there. Dewish team, we'll see. Are they going to play into that, or are they going to try trade that top tower? For now, it seems like could be a trade. WSL's in that top side. Coming back towards mid, though, and a TP from Zhao suggests.
Oh, here's a minion. But this should be no. This is definitely no one now. Look, minions have some weird movement sometimes, but they don't usually just run and charge full steam ahead. As we're looking at Goldtone getting caught about a little bit, it's going to have to flash to escape, and he's taken so low, he's going to use that Glacial Prison, get the Radiant Virtue healing, but it's not going to be enough. Adiox picks himself up, and Taco is looking here, but he's going to be headbutted away. JP finding himself a two-man but it's still Adiox hitting. It's a five-man Magnet Storm, and it's so much damage coming in here from Tide, who's found himself a double. He's looking for more. Adiox finds himself one, and WSL eventually will shut down this Kai'Sa, but not before the entire team's eliminated, and it's a 3 for 5.
Every Hellpigs game, it plays out the exact same. They give over those first two drags, and then when it comes to the third one, they just play it a little better. And in that fight, Adiox did about 6,000 damage on the Kog'Maw. And this is a Kog'Maw that wasn't really meant to be stronger than Nico at this point. But the Nico engage was kind of botched. You get to see the replay here. He committed a lot to try and finish the Sejuani, but that allows the carries to walk forward. I think here, honestly, you just take the damage onto Godzone. If you just hold this Nico ult, it becomes really hard. But now, what threat is there left? You know, Adiox can, especially once that Nara ult is used, can just kind of walk forward and DPS the entire time in a huge Magnet Storm.
Yeah.
I say really redeeming himself for that earlier stage of the game. Nice by Tide as well to jump in. I think even if he dies, it's just the Kog'Maw going untouched just absolutely runs the team fight down. God, Tony's thrilled with that outcome after it looked like he was the one caught out.
And
you got to wonder again, ooh, and how.
Yeah, and
does not have ult.
Yeah, we'll have to commit that flash, and that's a big cooldown. Obviously, he does have... Actually, he doesn't have Hex Flash.
Oh. Interesting.
Godzone now, though.
You're starting to worry about Dewish team, though, because they just used all their flashes only to lose the fight. And I think when a poke comp is versus Engage, and the Engage doesn't have their flashes...
All stun lands here. Taco trying to run down JP. JP will get a lot of movement speed through those hyper procs, and going to get that flash out of Nah. That's another flash taken. You were just saying about them losing flashes, and I wanted to bring up the fact that Nah still has it, which is a massive team fight tool, but before I could, he loses it.
And you wonder if he had just been able to run it out as opposed to trying to turn for all the autos. Maybe could have just got the hyper proc and then left. It is now the Muramana completed for Adiogs, and he is going to be dealing a lot of damage. There's a more on WSL, but you still kind of feel that he's doesn't have a lot of health behind it.
No.
It's not super tanky.
WSL can actually carry a little bit here, though.
Yeah.
I know Zinzao not really known to carry, but in this team comp, or against this team comp, shall I say, certainly could be the champion to do so, because all you have to do is get this more and then a little bit more damage, and you really can rip through these members of Halpigs.
If you can get to them, though. I mean, both Kai'Sa and the Kog'Maw can be very long range with these builds. And you do wonder if maybe Dewish team have lost the momentum. They kind of needed that third drag. Again, they don't scale poorly by any means, but they don't scale as well, for sure, as a Kog'Maw, Kai'Sa, Jax do. They've still got some ways to win.
I would argue, though, later on, you could almost just get more on Pepero, and then you almost do scale just as well, simply because of how one-dimensional the damage is. Because if you get more on Trist, the only thing you have to watch out for is Jax. And you have Buster Shot, you have a Headbutt, as well as the Zinzao ult.
Yeah, we'll see. And I think maybe don't even need to go the LDR this game because there just isn't enough armor on Godtone yet.
Yeah, it could be Bloodthirster. Feels like at least the Vamp Scepter.
Yeah, I think you see that a lot. Just Vamp into LDR or whatever you want from that point. And mid tower, it will finally go down, but that was much, much later than they'd hoped. And I wonder if that second Herald should have just gone mid. Because it would have made, continuing to stack up those dragons quite a bit easier. And I want to see what Adiogs goes for next. Is he going to go for the Void? It feels like it probably is the best choice.
Yeah,
Not too
I think
sure,
you
though.
have to just how one-dimensional, again, your damage sources are.
Yeah, especially with, it should just be more and more magic resist
Winsu's
coming
picked
in.
up now.
Ooh, okay,
That's
3 items on
pretty
the Kai'Sa.
quick.
Yeah, and I mean, compare that, to the Nico, for example, is just sitting at 1 item.
I think that is just going to be the more.
Okay, yeah, he's got some MR. Could also be a QSS, possibly. I mean, he has Cleanse, but, I mean, we'll see. Either way, magic resist is good.
I think QSS would be overkill.
1 minute on next drag. Halpigs, they've set up very early. Now, I wonder, I don't even think Dewish team have the DPS to really trade
Tide.
a drag or a Baron. There is a lot of gold on Tide. And it really shows in the items. I mean, a full item pretty much over his opponent, who's not even weak. Ooh, Taco, he's got a good flank. He's going to avoid the sweeper. Oh. Goes over the wall.
It wasn't actually spotted out, though, I don't believe.
No.
Unless there was a missing little bit of graphic there from that sweeper. But Dragon now spawning. They do have to be careful. Baron on the cards, and they will take it down. The Nah, the Zinzao, as well as the Tristana.
Yeah, they do just have a lot of different damage dealers. No one really feels like they do it super quick, but hey, with enough damage, you'll find a way. And I think while Hellpig should probably be favored right now, Dewish team can definitely still win a fight. They have a lot of AoE. They're going to try to start the Baron and pull the poke comp to them. Have to be really careful, though. They really need to engage before the poke lands. Otherwise, they're just going to be too low to fight.
WSL just receiving a lot of poke from the Baron, but it's going to be Tide. Stunned up, knocked up by this Alistair as IC8 running for his life, and teleport comes through for Adiogs, who managing to find some nice ults there, taking the Jiaotu down to half. It is just the Dragon picked up, though, ultimately. And they lose just the Adiogs teleport, which pretty inconsequential.
Pretty worth, you'd have to say. Hellpig's starting to pull ahead in gold now, after being behind for most of that early game. And Dewish team, could they have another crack at it? Feels like not. I think you've really got to be able to turn around the engage, otherwise you are just going to get poked to death. Is a Codex picked up by Adiogs? Wondering if it could be a Cosmic or maybe, you know, Zonya, Banshee, one of those two. I think Zonya could be decent. Even though he's so long range, I mean, just having it for Nico would be nice.
Yeah. We'll have to see, but I think a lot of eyes here in a team fight on Tide. Is going AP, but notably not really the poke build because he has got that Nashes.
Yeah.
Sorry, not the Nashes, the Gwinsus. So the poke doesn't hit anywhere near as hard, but you will be offering more damage in a team fight. I do have to say, though, going this build feels weird when you could have just gone AD.
Yeah.
I think you could, probably should. You can even go static shiv AD if you want. Obviously, the wave clear is less, but you don't really need wave clear, being that you have this AP Cogmore.
Sure. Now a Hex Drinker on Pepero is starting to get pretty magically resistant. I think we might have a slow one here for a while. There's a lot of wave clear on both sides, and there's no fourth drag win condition even on that next drag.
Altone's sitting on a ward here. Nice damage though. Cogmore ults starting to hit.
No, find the bot side.
Yeah.
Level
JP
16
and
on the
Taco
Jax.
going at it again, and Taco actually losing out on that trade really, but the fight here between the AD carries is going to be tied.
Oh, and the wrong target altered there. I think if he got... Oh, hold on. The fight continues.
Yeah, fighters. Magnet Storm coming through. Going to land there onto those two members. Xiaotu, though, will immediately flash and Proto Belt away, and it's just going to be Inhao committing his life. It's a 2 for 0. It should be Hellpigs now turning their attention towards this Baron, and with no poke and no real engage, should be picked up for them.
I think they have to try contest. They still have 2 big team fight ultis, but it feels really, really hard. They'll find Taco early.
They'll find Taco, or Taco will find them. He's getting pretty low.
What?
Where'd he go?
There he is.
Jax, come back! He does come back, and he's coming back with a vengeance. He may have got knocked up by that Pop Blossom, but the Pop Blossom user is deleted as WSL now having to just leave. It is the Baron picked up. Taco went on a bit of an adventure, but came back down to claim his bounty onto Xiaotu, and now Hellpigs with a significant lead.
Yep, Hellpigs feels like very easy game from here on out, and I wonder... I think Pepero, if he just committed the ult a tiny bit earlier and, of course, onto the right target, I think he could have actually just killed Tide there, and that would have completely changed the game. Could have been them looking towards the Baron, and that slight misplay cost them severely. Comes down to how much can Hellpigs get with this. We'll see how it started. I mean, there's no W. It's on CD for a while. Pepero jumps forward. He's got ulti. I think if he had just ulted the Kai'Sa, probably would have got this kill and also got, you know, the damage away from him. And after that, I mean, there really isn't much Inhao can do. Just isn't tanky enough even with the ulti to survive this many people. It's unfortunate, but the Hellpigs, they kind of just get the victory, or at least the Baron for now, handed to him.
Yeah, and I want to say, Tide, this is the second time I think we've seen him play Kai'Sa, and it looks like his best champ by far, but that's just probably Kai'Sa as a champ in reality. It was Taco getting quite low here. He's going to have to commit that stopwatch at least for now. Trying to get away, but the Na'Ul should confirm his death, and it's WSL who does claim that bounty. 700 gold over to the Zinzal. Xiaotu, though, really, really low. It's essentially going to be a 4v4 if anything, but with that Glacial Prison going wide, I'm not sure if they'll have the lockdown needed. Inhao getting low, and the constant barrages here from the Cogmore, but it won't be enough to collect that kill, and ultimately it's just one kill found here onto Taco down the bot side.
It does allow them to slow down the game quite a bit, though, and also to contest this Dragon if they want. Now, they are missing the Pop Blossom, also lacking a lot of control around this area, but Taco's dead for 17 more seconds, does not have TP.
Tide, so aggressive.
Well, WSL needs to be careful.
Yeah, it's pretty hard for you to walk in here.
Oh, they're just taking so much poke on the way in.
Adiog's pretty low on mana. Tide also not got the most amount of mana you've ever seen, but Taco's back now. Does have teleport very, very soon, as it's going to be Godtone looking for something. Inhal does get sniped from the back there by this Cockmore. It's Taco, but the Buster Shot denies anything there. But now you are at these towers, you still do have the Baron buff, and it's going to be Taco going forward. Adiox claims himself another victim from 3 screens away with constant barrages. It's the Pop Blossom, it will land onto 2. It is going to force out that stopwatch from Taco, tied even. But it's just another tower going down, that's the second one found. It's also 2 kills now for the side of Hellpigs as the siege does continue. JP back with full health alongside Pepero. Glacial Prison again goes wide here from Goldtone, but there's so much damage as Taco flashes forward, and on the other side, Pepero getting really, really low himself. It's another flash, but he isn't going to be able to find it. It should just be Pepero picking up this kill here onto Taco, although the Leap Strike will get him out for now. Tower does go down, a lot of low health bars. Inhal finds one, that's a reset. Pepero finding himself a second. He's now looking at Adiox, that's a triple. He could be looking for a penta here. It's going to be ICA going down as well. That is going to be the Quadra. Are they going to be able to chase off Gottone? Gottone now running for his life after this heroic base defense coming out of Pepero. Dragon as well will be up, so it'll stop any stacking coming forward for Hellpigs, but massive defense.
Now they buy themselves some more time and maybe another chance. I mean, the Tristana getting this fed could be a way back in. They really need some teamfight DPS at this point, and it feels like Nico will not provide that. Third Dragon, I think it'll go the way of Hellpigs here. Massive performance from Pepero. Get a replay of it. Looks like they just walked up a bit too far. Ooh, another Sedge ult goes wide. They commit on to JP, but Pepero, ooh, really nice flash there. And now so much used. Taco is the one who kind of gives over that first kill. Actually got out for a while. But look at this, I mean the Nexus is getting hit here. And Pepero jumps in, dodges IC8's engage, takes out both the carries in the back
there,
line.
600 there.
Yeah, he made a lot of money in that fight. I think he has Treasure Hunter as well.
Oh.
Bought a full BT.
Yeah. In fairness, Tide also sitting at 4 items, so more or less evened out these 80 carries, but...
Shadow Flame.
Yeah. Inting.
In this economy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just perplexed by the fact it's an AP Kaiser, but they are still in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Up 4k gold as well as... I mean, you do have the one type of damage, but in their favor, they're doing this damage from 2 screens away where Dewish team don't even have a point of responding. It is going to be the Spirit Visage picked up here from WSL. I feel like maybe missed an opportunity for an Abyssal Mask, but...
Now, Force of Nature on JP, I mean, there is a lot of magic resist.
Yeah.
And there is no Void yet. It's being worked on by the Cogmore, but you know, I think Kaiser probably should have gone Void, to be honest. So now, 3.5 minutes.
Galtu is a minion. Goldtone quite far up there, but you don't really want to be solo ulting against the Sejuani. As in fact, fight breaks out. It's going to be the 4-man Magnet Storm, and there might be magic resist, but there's not on the Nico. It's eliminated immediately as WSL now trying to find Tide. The Hex Drinker finding a lot of value as WSL goes gold and will be found. Is going to be now onto Pepero. He's slowed up in that Toxic Ooze. He's looking for Adiox. He does have the damage. The Bloodthirster is through. Does jump away. I feel like he could have gone forward, but ultimately manages to get it to be a 3 for 2. Actually, it was Taco on the bot side managing to find himself a solo kill there on JP, I believe. And now pressure should be coming through. Oh, the Void Seeker will not connect on the Alistair. And now an opportunity again to stabilize for Pepero and Inhal, although Goldtone heading up towards this Baron. It's going to be teleport coming through for Taco.
There is a TP for Zhao too as well, but I think this is going to be given over. I don't see any way the Dewish team can really get to it. But man, I mean, I really hope we get a replay of that fight because Zhao 2 went down instantly. And another kind of heroic effort put in by Pepero to somehow, somewhat even up that fight. Still though, it was that Baron picked up. Now Zhonya's on Tide as well. Pepero must be sitting on a lot of gold here.
No Void Staff in the build. I mean, you have a little bit of pen, I guess, from Guinsoo's, but... anyway. You do you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll see what happens. So I guess JP found Taco. Didn't have the flash, I don't think. And I think especially if you have itemized MR, it is very much for the team fight, right? It's definitely not going to help you face down the Jax, at least not much. Randuin's on Taco, which I think is pretty big. He wasn't in that fight whatsoever. LDR is being worked on by Pepperoni, Void by Zhao2, but it feels like Zhao2's damage is not super relevant at this point.
Yeah, mainly playing, you have to feel for that Pop Blossom, as he is Alistar on the side. One problem we've seen with Nico's becoming those engaged supports is teams don't want to be near the Alistar, as well as they don't want to be near the Nico, and so kind of just doing the same thing there as Zhao2. Does take quite a lot of damage. Taco's just a poke champion as well. Tied! Comes in and eliminates Zhao2. It's going to be the Magna Storm. The follow-up, it should just be an absolute clean team fight here. Pepero will not have anything to say about it, as that Magna Storm locks him up for just too long. It looked a bit rough, but it will be Halpigs eventually in 36 minutes taking the win.
They do. I think there were chances there